Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about my ski quiver. Now, there's a lot of parts to this and I'm going to try to keep it to the basics. I'm going to talk about like my jackets, my boots, and my skis. There's a lot of other stuff. There's poles, there's base layers, and I want to do a whole video on base layers, but for now, let's just focus on what is the stuff that I use regularly. Now I ski on a lot of different skis doing these ski reviews. There are a bunch of skis that were sent to me that I would guess will likely be daily drivers for me, just depending on how I like them. Like I look at those M7 Mantras and I'm like, oh, those could be pretty nice actually for those warmer days. Or I look at the Stockli Montero and I'm like, oh, that ski previous generation reminded me a lot of my race skis, which I really liked. So I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in the future, but just going into 2025, I want to talk about the skis that I bought and that I last year skied on regularly and the skis that I am planning on skiing on regularly, and talk about how I bought them and kind of how I built out my quiver. Now, as far as skis I own, who knows at this point, it could be a dozen, it could be whatever, but I just want to show you the skis that really get a lot of mileage, or if I don't have a ski to review, or if a friend comes into town and wants to ski, or if I just want to have a fun day. This is what I ski on, and this is kind of my logic behind it, so I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is clothing, and that's because it's raining right now. And I'd really like to change into my rain jacket. As far as clothing goes, it's a little bougie. You know, whatever, this is how I feel about it, but I like wearing a nice fluffy warm fleece on the drive up. We have about a 30-minute 40-minute switchback road to get up to the ski hill, and I don't know, I just like to pack a warm fleece that's different than my jacket I was wearing while I was skiing, because it gets wet, it gets gross. I know it sounds frou-frou, but honestly, get yourself like a nice warm fleece, keep it in your car for when you get done skiing, and when you get done, getting in a nice warm dry piece of clothing, there's no better feeling. I really believe that. I also like pack myself little snacks for after. I'll make sure I have fresh water. Yeah, there's lots of other things you can do, but make yourself comfortable after skiing, especially if you have to sit in your clothes for a while. There's nothing worse than being like cold and wet after you ski. So this is my Patagonia retro fleece. I've got one in black and one in blue. I bought both of them from Patagonia's used department. It's called like their used gear. I am not affiliated with Patagonia, which is wild because I own a lot of their stuff. I stand by a lot of their stuff. They not only have ethical clothing, but also environmentally friendly clothing. And one of the founders graduated from my college, which is kind of funny. But anyway, I like this. I'm not paid by Patagonia. I'll see if I can find a link though for you to purchase. Usually REI, Evo, all those places carry it, so I'll see if I can find it for you. But I love wearing this fleece. It's also, I think it looks cool. Going out to dinner, I'll wear it. It's just a very comfortable all-around fleece. Very basic, but very warm. But now that I'm done talking about that, let me get into something a little bit drier. Now, my next jacket is a jacket I bought this summer. It's a shell. This is the Mammut Haldrigat ski jacket. Now I bought this used for about $240. Your mileage may vary. I believe they retail for $700 new. I could not find a used one to show you guys, so take that all with a grain of salt. I am now an affiliate partner with Mammut, and I talked to them about like, okay, do you want to send me some products to review? And they're like, nope. I was like, okay, well, before I was an affiliate, I did buy their jacket, so I'll show you what I bought, and then if you decide you want to buy it, I will have a link so you can buy it if you want to. Maybe I can work with them more, but I did find it funny. I was like, okay, I do reviews. I don't know how you want me to review a product if I can't have it in hand. And I was like, okay, I can just review the older version. And you know what, honestly, sometimes I don't mind reviewing used products because you kind of get a feel for the wear and tear quicker. Like somebody's already put a bunch of miles on this, so I can give you an honest depiction of how it looks. I have a smartwatch, and a bunch of reviewers are like, oh, it's so great. And now that I've had it for 3 months, I'm like, oh, this scratches really easily. You guys didn't put enough mileage on it, so that won't be the case with this jacket. It's already got some miles baked in. But let me show you the jacket. I like the zippers on it already. And it's got a bunch of nice features. You've got your inside pockets, which are always nice. It's got the sleeve guards. The one thing I didn't like about my Armada sleeve guards is they're too tight, so it's like hard to check your watch. These are nice and loose. And what's nice about this being kind of a schwankier product, it has the pass zipper. I love this. It's such a small thing, right? That like really doesn't matter for like warmth or dryness. It really doesn't matter for warmth or dryness, but oh my God, does it matter. Like, it's so much easier to not hit your knees when you're trying to get your pant pockets to hit. And instead you can just swipe your hand through and save your knees when you have like the scanner chairlift things. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Some people still have manual scanners, but ours has RFID where you just put your pass through it and it opens these little doors for you. It really does speed up lift lines. And anyway, what can happen is if it's in your pocket, you have to hit your knees to get through it. So that's nice. The previous person left their pass in here, which is funny. So I have your information. I'm not gonna do anything with it. Nice big hood to fit over your helmet. That's kind of the difference with some of these ski jackets. The other thing I really like is it's got some nice material. I'll try not to move the jacket too much because it crinkles. It has this nice smooth material by where you put your face. People, you know, if you don't ski, you don't think about this stuff, but your face, when it's windy, is so locked into these. It's nice to have a nice smooth material. This is a huge feature, having the ventilation. You can open up. I get really warm when I ski in the woods, so that's a huge feature for me. I've never actually owned anything of Mammut myself. This is my first time buying a Mammut product. A lot of my friends or family had them, and then they got passed down to me when I was a kid. My mom had a couple of their jackets that I would put on when I went to get the groceries from the car. So this is my first of my own, but they obviously lasted year over year over year. They make nice products. They're also ethically made and made with environmentally friendly materials. So kind of ticking both those boxes that I set for Patagonia. Mammut also does. But so far, like the design, the pockets, everything makes sense. All the little details are there. The quality is good. It's been sitting out for the last 20 minutes in the rain and there's nothing coming through it. It's all beating off well. It's got the nice open cuffs for your mittens and gloves that you can customize down. Some places don't think of that. It's like all these little touches that really make for a nice jacket experience. Whether or not it's worth $700, if you've got that kind of money and you want to spend it, it is a high quality product, but you'd have to make that decision yourself. That is a lot of money, and I don't even spend that much on like boots or skis. But if you're gonna have it for a long time, it kind of washes out. I don't know, you gotta do that math in your head. I'm happy with this used product, we'll see how it goes, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. The only thing I was a little worried about is that it's red, and I feel like now I look like a ski patroller even though I'm not, so that's my only little hang up, but I don't know, pretty clearly I think people will figure out I'm not a ski patrol person. Not in like a bad way, I just don't want people to think I'm gonna come help them and I can't. Up next, I've got my Patagonia Powdertown snow pants. I did these in the bib style. I notoriously have a hard time keeping my pants up. And so I found that like just having the built-in bib is better. I did in the past try to put some Chums attachments onto cheaper snow pants, but those kept coming unclipped and it was just a pain. Having it all built in is really nice. It's got a nice little pocket in the front here where I put up my season pass when I had a jacket that didn't have the arm thing. And also sometimes if you're changing jackets a lot, I will actually put my season pass in here just because if I'm swapping out jackets, I sometimes forget my pass and there's nothing more frustrating. So that's nice. They were very warm. They didn't get wet too badly. They're not like really hardcore shells, but I feel like they were adequate. They did a better job than some of the other previous snow pants I had. And I think part of that is because of these tape zippers kept the moisture out. I used these all year last year. My only grievance with these is that there's only, when you put them on, there's only one zipper on the side so that like your fly doesn't unzip while you're skiing, but there's still a fly there. It just means like the buttons won't come undone when you're hunched over. It kind of puts it onto your right side. The only thing I found is that sometimes when you're like getting your hip close to the ground, these will start to come unzipped. Maybe that's a me issue and just the way I'm built. Maybe I'm destined to have pants that fall down on me forever, but I did find that a little bit annoying. About halfway through the day, this zipper would come undone halfway down. I am gonna try these with an arcade belt this year. I think that'll help that a little bit, but just a small drawback. All in all, these were, I think, about $120 when I bought them on sale in the summer. I'm very happy with the performance. I like the color. It's got these powder cuffs that work really well. These are probably the nicest snow pants I've ever owned, and I've been thrilled with them. I had North Face before that worked pretty well, but they, I don't know, they just bunch up in weird ways. And I found this to be a little bit warmer, a little bit higher quality of an overall product. Some of that could be the bibs keeping the warmth in, so it's little apples and oranges, but I've been thrilled with these snow pants. Now for the colder days, this is the jacket I got last year. This is the Armada Reedy 2-layer. This is a much warmer jacket. It's insulated. This is for colder days rather than wetter days. It doesn't do great in rain. You can see here it's like starting to kind of soak up some of that moisture. The hood is good though. I really like the shape over the face. It's very comfortable. It is very warm. This was a very affordable jacket. This one was closer to $140 when I bought it, and that was in the middle of the winter. I also really like the design. I think it looks really cool on the back here. So it was a little bit cheaper, but I found it was warmer than my DC jacket, so that was a nice upgrade. But it is definitely a simpler jacket. There are no sleeve pockets for your passes. There are no kind of center pockets. It's literally just these two pockets in the front and a couple of internal ones, and that is it. But I found, even though it's simple, it is very warm, and I would say this jacket is perfect for when it's like, I'd say like, I don't know, probably 5 to 30 degrees is perfect. Warmer, I wear something a little bit lighter, but the majority of the days, this jacket was just awesome for where I ski at Bogus Basin in Idaho. Now for my lighter jacket, I've got this Patagonia, oh my God, what's it called? It's called like the knife blade or something. It's a very lightweight jacket. It's got ventilation built into the pockets. Also a pretty simple jacket, but it covers your face well. It's got a nice hood, but this is very, very thin material. I found that this was perfect for the warm days because like, in the past I've worn just cotton sweatshirts, but sometimes when the wind comes through or if you crash, that cotton doesn't really do much. I found this to be perfect. I got it for very cheap on Patagonia's used website again. And actually this was perfect for Sweden. I wore this all the time in Stockholm and found it was actually perfect for that because it breathes when you're walking around the city while still keeping you dry if you get a little bit of rain. And actually I ran in it. It was perfect for running. Just because you could open it up even though it was cold. It's a very nice like in-between jacket for me. Okay, now let's talk about boots. This is the same as last year. These are the Atomic Hawx Prime 120S. This is the wider version as far as like the boot model goes for Atomic. I loved my boots last year. They got warranted for the buckles collapsing in on each other, so they sent me a pair of replacements. These are replacements that I still need to break in. I was on Ling for 30 years and this was my first non-Ling ski boot and I absolutely loved it. The one thing I will say, when I was trying it on, I felt like I wasn't getting a solid seal with my shin to this little cup. And what fixed that is I put the spoilers that come in the box with it, and that totally fixed it. So if you're having that issue, maybe give that a try. What else can I say about these? I absolutely love them. I think they're such a good value. They held up really well. They were very comfortable. I like being able to pull up the liners by these handles. Out of the box, these were just phenomenal. I would definitely break them in, I think on, you know, like any boot, but all in all, I was floored by the performance on these. And then in the boot, this is just one of them, but I rotate around Smartwool ski socks. I'm pretty warm, so I typically do kind of the thinner socks. These were actually sent to me. I've been using Smartwool since I was racing, so I don't know. This isn't a plug for them, but they did send me a pair. I made a meme on Instagram about wet socks and wet hands, and they were like, oh, we'd love to fix that. And I told them, okay, actually I don't need socks. I have plenty of socks. You know, I have 3 young children, one with autism, and Smartwool is the only wool sock he likes the texture of, which is funny. But, because I feel the same way. This is the only wool sock I really like. I tried Darn Tough last year, and as a Vermonter, it broke my heart, but I didn't really love the model I had. But I've always used Smartwool. I like thinner so I can feel the boot a little bit better, and my feet don't get really cold. But even when they did get cold in Vermont, I just did thicker Smartwool. I absolutely love their socks. Yes, I guess they sent me a pair of $10 socks. Oh yeah, they sent me a pair too. They sent all my kids socks and me a pair. So, ski brands, you wanna really warm my Grinch heart? Ski stuff for my kids. they don't need any ski stuff. But yeah, that was very cool, Smartwool. You didn't have to do that, and my son loved them. All right, now what everyone wants to know, what skis are in my quiver. Now again, like I said, there's about a dozen or more skis ready to be reviewed, and I'm sure I will keep some of those that, like, as I try them, I will decide I like. And there's been some this past year that honestly, if I had the opportunity to, I probably would have swapped these out with. Specifically for spring skiing, I really like the Kendo 88, so stuff like that. But this is what I ski on, and this is one of my favorite skis ever made. This is the Atomic Maverick 88 Ti. I just think it's the perfect width. It gets that horizon tech. It's a great daily driver. It's also fun in surprise powder. It's super accurate with its turning, so if you care about carving and have a race background, I really think you should try these at the very least because they are so much more accurate than you're expecting. Everyone thinks all mountain, oh, it's not gonna have the performance. No, these are phenomenal. They're pretty lightweight. They kind of, if you've ever skied on the Vantage series, this is what replaced the Vantage. They basically have the same shape as a Vantage if you put them side by side, but then these are you kind of replacing some of that double sidewall or thicker sidewall with more camber, which I like. It gives it like about 10% more pop than the Vantage in and out of the turn. I just think like if you're skiing in Idaho and you're looking for a daily driver, these are so good. They're becoming more popular now. A couple of years ago, I felt like I was losing my mind because no one would talk about them. But I absolutely love these. I also ski these with a Look SPX 12. That's kind of my go-to binding. I am reviewing a pair of pivots this year, but I just need to find a ski wide enough to try them on. But I honestly think the Look SPX 12 is so slept on. They're about 150 bucks right now. You can find them on sale pretty frequently. They're such high performance. They go up to 12 DIN, which is more than most people need anyway. It's also the binding that they use on their race skis. I don't know, it's such a good performer that most people overlook in favor of the pivots. Yes, they have plastic components, but you know, a lot of times people aren't keeping their bindings for that long. All in all, this is one of my favorite skis. It's such an easy ski for my home mountain to just throw in and know it's gonna be fun. And oh, I found a little bit of powder that no one skied off. Okay, I can still ski that with the Horizon Tech. If it's deeper, these definitely struggle once you get over about, I don't know, 6 to 9 inches of snow, they'll start to struggle a little bit. But the fact that you can carve really well up till then and have fun on them, I don't know, it just speaks volumes about Atomic's design here. And it's nice to see they're getting the recognition they want. They also make the 95, which is pretty good. It's just a little bit less responsive edge to edge, and the 100 obviously, which is also, but if you're like, oh, well, I don't want to miss out on any of that powder, you could look at those. I just think if you paired this with like a bent 110, it's like you cover everything. So trying to split the difference with the wider version of this or the narrower version of the bent doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what I like. That's what I ski on. Paid my own money for these. I will have a link to them, but I'm not like affiliated with Atomic or, you know, I don't sell skis for them. I'm not sponsored by them. This is just a ski I love that I spent my own money on. Oh, I've got the Renown. I've got the Renown Velcro strap. That's funny. Yeah, that's how you know I'm not a sponsored athlete. Mix and match straps based on what I have. Now, this is the only ski on my list that I didn't spend my own money on. When I reviewed these, thinking I was gonna send them back, and then Meier let me keep them, which was a really pleasant surprise. This is the Meier Wrangler. It's a 93mm width underfoot ski. I ski these in a 180, but my Atomic Mavericks are 176s. I did crash on the Mavericks, and they are a little short. I might rethink my daily driver length. But this is a ski I'm really excited to spend a lot more time on this year. I just felt like it was so diverse. I saw the way Zach skied on it and was like, oh, I didn't think to like set up a line for that kind of skiing on these. The tail sinks in a little bit more than the Maverick, which means you get a little bit more flotation out of the tops. They're also a little bit kind of denser, or they just carry the speed a little bit more than the Maverick. They're not quite as precise in and out of the turns, but maybe by like a margin of 10%. They're very accurate, very fun. They're made in America, made by hand, made with environmentally friendly materials. That's why a lot of the top sheets kind of have that transparent look to them, because they're not using a lot of dyes. I really think this is a slept-on ski brand, and I'm really thrilled with the performance of these. So this is something I'm spending a lot more time on. I also had the top sheets get kind of shredded in one of my crashes on my Atomic Maverick, which is fine, but it took off some of the Titanal, the little leaflet inside, and Atomic said, oh, that's not structural. I was like, how is the Titanal not structural? So I think I'm gonna take some like Flex Seal and just spray it over to keep moisture out this year. That being said, I might just spend more time on these because they're really fun. Really kind of, you can set up more aggressive lines off trail with these. And as I get better at off trail skiing, I see myself using these more and more. So I will have a link for these as well if you're interested in them. They are a small independent brand out of Denver, Colorado, which I think is cool. So, you know, you can go check them out. I think a lot of people kind of get siphoned in because the big brands are really good, but you know, if you, just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's not good. These are really nice skis. And finally, for powder skis, I have the Rossignol QST 106 and a 182. These skis I paid for myself again. I bought them on Evo on sale this time last year. I skied on them about, I don't know, I want to say 7 to 8 days, maybe 10. somewhere in there. It's kind of a blur. I skied on a lot of different skis. But these are so much fun. I mean, they've got the cork dampener. They still have their shape for turning, but with the powder skiing, these are the most fun I've had in powder probably ever. I used to snowboard, and the powder feeling in snowboarding is unparalleled. It's so fun. You get those big swooping turns, and this is the only ski I've ever found that really replicates that feeling. You can kind of sit back, let the turn wash out. The only area it struggles is if you get into the brambles, you know, they can be a little bit more difficult. It's not as bad as the blank, but like if you really get into the brambles, it's just not going to be as forgiving as like a bent 110. So you're trading surfiness and good feeling for responsiveness in the trees. It's not a bad thing. It's just like, you know, you got to pick your stats essentially. I gave these a perfect score. Realistically, I think if I rescored them, they'd probably be like a 9.8. But these are just phenomenal. The other downside I found is sometimes the skis like to tip into each other. I found that the more I got used to them, the less that was happening. And it could have been a user error. But Zach said that he noticed that too, so take that for what it's worth. But that happened very rarely, and it's a very easy thing to avoid, just based on your stance in powder skiing. They're very sendy, they're very flowy. By sendy, I mean like they carry their weight down the hill and let you kind of get the most of it, whereas some of like the more backcountry skis are really light, and you just don't gain your momentum the way you do with a ski like this. I think this is a phenomenal design. It's one of the most revolutionary ski designs I've seen in my lifetime. Just between like the QST 92 and the QST 106, I think these are just phenomenal. I had a lot of fun. And these also have the Look SPX 12s as well. You know, putting my money where my mouth is. I bought these myself. I think it's a great value. It's a great binding. 182 might be a little short, but again, like Bogus Basin has some weird lines where I like to have a little bit more forgiveness in my length. I'm not doing like a big open line at snowboard. So the graphics are very vanilla, but the underpart is like this beautiful yellow and pink that I like. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal ski, and if you get a chance, I would definitely try these out. And yeah, that's all my stuff. I paid for all of it with my own money, other than the Meier Wranglers, which they were nice enough to let me keep, but everything else I paid for myself. Going into this year, I've been sent so many skis that I kind of see that not happening again for a while. But other than spending my money, it's also just skis I spent my free time on. Like sometimes doing reviews gets exhausting, and I'll designate a day like today, I'm just gonna go to the mountain and have fun. And I need skis that I can throw in my car and know they're gonna perform. So these are the 3 skis that I throw into my car when I don't wanna worry about it and I wanna know that I'm gonna have good performance and a fun day. So anyway, that's the end of my video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. I will also have links down below to all this gear. So if you wanna buy any of it, that's a free way to support the channel without spending any extra money. I always try to like give you guys the best prices, so I'll go through a bunch of filters. But yeah, we also have channel memberships. Right now we have a thing going on where if you ask me a question, even if you're not a channel member, I will answer it about your skis up until Black Friday. But if you want to get yours prioritized, consider becoming a member and supporting the kind of content you like to watch. But as always, more than anything, just thanks for supporting me by watching my video. Thanks for being here and spending part of your day with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys like this kind of different content, but I thought it'd be fun. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.